next up would be this bar over here. You've got your select. This also allows you to pan. Your layers, you have your map or the background layer. Most of your action, anything that's on the map layer is not movable by someone on the token and objects layer. So what I like to do is I set up my map. I make sure that it's on the map and background. And then I try not to go back to that because as a GM, you can move stuff around and it can mess up your map a little bit. Control Z is your friend if that happens. But objects and tokens would be the places where players have access. The GM view is great because that allows you to add things like you can put text here, and then you can put notes on the map for yourself. Like this is room 1, and you can change the color. So let's say that color is pretty bad. So we want to change it to white. Select that. Okay, the GM layer is awesome because you can add notes to yourself. You just click on the text. You figure out what size you want the text to be. So maybe 26. I'm going to be putting it on kind of a dark background. So let's make it white text. So then I come over here and I can say this is room 1. And then when I am back on the token layer, you can see that I can still see this. The players cannot see that. They cannot see anything that's on the GM layer. Another little trick with the GM layer is you can put tokens on the GM layer, and they're not going to be visible to the players either. Those same tokens that are on the GM layer, you can add them to the initiative turn order, and they will be invisible in the initiative turn order as well to the players until you bring them to the objects and tokens layer. So just be aware that there's some pretty nifty features you can do with the GM layer. Dynamic lighting is simply that, where you go in and set up your dynamic lighting walls. I like to use, just like they did here, if we go to the dynamic lighting layer, they've got black for walls. They've got kind of this teal color for doors. That makes it handy to know where one thing is and another thing ends, etc. So just be aware that that's an option for you. And you can also change the opacity. So you can make it more or less opaque, which will make like your GM layer a little bit dimmer, a little bit harder to see, or you can make it really opaque, and so it's very easy to see. So that's all, again, personal preference on how you want things to be. You also have the ability to draw different shapes. This is accessible to the players, and so you may want to have a group discussion on whether you want them drawing or writing on the map. Sometimes I like to let my players write on the map so they can make notes of things that are important for them to remember in specific locations. But again, that's going to be a personal GM preference. If they get out of hand, you can clear all the drawings very easily. Here you can magnify or zoom in and out of on your tabletop. Your distance or your measuring tool will show you, you can snap it to the center of the token, you can snap to the corner, or you can have no snapping. This here is a way to quickly add light elements to a map. So you just drag that and then click in a spot where you want that lighting to be. And now that lighting element is there, and you can configure that however you want. This is going to emit bright light up to 20 feet. You'll ask, well, why didn't this room get brighter? It's because that token does not have vision. So that token can't see. But if I were to bring my player character, let's turn off his light emission for right now. If we do that, so he no longer emits light. You'll notice it on the map when we were on the dynamic lighting layer. These things here are emitting light, which is why he can see outside. However, once I move him inside as the GM, you'll see that the screen goes dark. If I were to control L on him, he can't see now. However, if I bring him into this room, because he's now in here with something that emits light, he can now see. So this torch is a quick way to do that. Makes it pretty easy to add visibility to things that sometimes don't have it. You can enable darkness or make things permanent dark and hide. This is more or less your fog of war that some people use. Your